Good evening and welcome to RFL. I'm Richard French. Tonight we are going to remember Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who of course passed away Friday evening at the age of 87. She was more than just a Supreme Court justice. She was also a cultural touchstone, paving the way for millions of women who came after her. Justice Ginsburg's body, it will lie in repose at the Supreme Court Wednesday and Thursday. Then it will lie in state Friday at the Capitol. President Trump will waste no time. He says he will announce his nomination to fill her seat either late Friday or Saturday. This, of course, comes as we are just 6 weeks from the election, so tons of politics are also in play here, including whether or not enough Republicans will go along with Mitch McConnell as he tries to push through a new justice before the end of the year. Very different than 2016. Already, you have two GOP senators who have said they would rather wait until after Election Day, but two more are needed to stop the Republican-led Senate from confirming a nominee. Now, it is too early to tell how the open Supreme Court will impact the election, but as of today, Joe Biden still holds an 8-point lead over President Trump. And a brand new poll shows that more than 6 in 10 Americans say the winner of the election should be the one to pick the next justice. Democrats overwhelmingly say wait, and even Republicans are split 50-50. Now, it is too soon to tell whether or not Justice Ginsburg's last wish will be granted. She told her own granddaughter, and I quote, "My most fervent wish is that I will not be replaced until a new president is installed." And shockingly, even by Trump standards, he's now casting doubts about whether or not those were Ginsburg's actual last words to her family. The passing of Justice Ginsburg adds even more chaos to already an exhausted election year. This era, we will remember an amazing life well lived, the huge impact she left on the High Court, the seismic cases and new uncertainty that her absence leaves, the stunning hypocrisy of Senate Republicans who have collective amnesia from just 4 years ago, and a president who cannot seem to contain his glee, even though the great jurist body is not even cold. The impact on the election in just 43 days, and for the court possibly for generations, it cannot be exaggerated. Now I'm going to lay out for you the stakes in this hour and what we need to watch out for. First, though, allow me to tell you why I mourn her passing and why I'm so worried about the next chapter in this awful year. I've been shocked at how many people, particularly women, young and old, who have been so staggered by RBG's passing. For them, she was an icon, much more than a justice who shattered glass ceilings. She was a giant spirit in a diminutive body who demanded that sisters and daughters be treated as equals. Marginalization, discrimination, age, cancer, none of it held her back. Her indomitable will, her legacy, it was about fighting for a seat at the table for every American. That legacy, very possibly, is now under assault. A woman's right to choose, health coverage, voting rights, all issues Americans overwhelmingly support, will very likely now be in the crosshairs if McConnell and Trump get their way. Now, if all this feels like a scam happening in broad daylight, you should trust your feelings. We all remember what happened to Merrick Garland, and we all remember the tortured rationales why we could wait nearly a year with only 8 justices in an election year, no less, and now Mitch has an urgency to get this done and done in record time. Oh, and by the way, what if this election, with the president already baselessly claiming fraud, goes to the Supreme Court just like 20 years ago? What then? Now you see where this may all be headed, and if you're worried for the state of your union, you, my friends, are not alone. Trump, he has as much concern for the real-time destruction of norms as he does with the truth, which is none. When your president is willing to stir calls for a civil and race war if election doesn't go his way, it is only additive to him if there is a crisis of legitimacy in our Congress and now even our Supreme Court. The backlash, it was predictable. Liberals, tired of playing by one set of rules, or Republicans, in their view, only care about winning, not precedent, say enough. If Trump tries to jam this through, let's say impeach. Others say let's pack the courts, or finally, let's end the taxation without representation of Puerto Rico and D.C. and give them statehoods and obviously the 4 Senate seats that go along with it. I get the frustration, but where will we be when we come out on the other side of this? At every turn, my president can be counted on for one thing. That is to further divide this country. I've been counting the days till the end of his first term when we, the people, can decide if we've had enough. And clearly, you don't have to be Kreskin to know my answer to that question and my belief that enough of you feel the same way I do. But now I wonder, however we emerge from this horrible electoral experiment, will the damage already be done and the scarring too deep to heal? I fear that we're about to find out. When we come back, Ruth Bader Ginsburg became an attorney when it was tough for women to practice law. She inspired a whole generation of female lawyers who followed in her footsteps. After the break, we'll be joined by one of them, former federal prosecutor Mimi Rocah.